Hello again, session number 25. How did we get here? I hope you're all still there and still doing your exercising, particularly Pilates. And please do let me know if you feel there are any muscle groups that I'm missing out or I'm getting repetitive feedback. I'm always happy to get. Please email or text, whatever. I'd be very pleased to hear from you. It's nice to know you're still there. Anyway, let's start off with a posture check. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against that imaginary wall. Tailbone pointing down, pressing tummy button to the backbone, pulling up into the rib cage. Pelvic floor pulling up. And that will make the knees roll out as you contract the buttocks to open the hips. And just allow the arch of the foot to be encouraged. Spreading out the toes, waiting between the little toe, the big toe and the heels. And of course, don't forget the Pilates, breathing full and wide into the rib cage. And you don't interfere with you. Zip up and hollow, pulling up and pulling in. And then keeping the shoulders back and down. Just pulling the palms of the hands up, turn and push away from the chest. Open the chest and stretch the fingertips down. Maybe breathing in to pull up, breathing out, turn, push. Breathing in to open and breathing out to push down. So just start to warm up the shoulders, switching on those core muscles to keep you stable while you do this. So just to pull up, turn, push away, open up between the shoulder blades, pull back to feel those shoulder blades squeeze together, slide those shoulder blades down your back. Then make it a little bit bigger, just pull up, turn, push up a little bit higher, sweeping round and stretching down. Pulling up, turn, push up. Sweep round and reach down. Gradually increasing that range of movement, reaching all the way up. You keep the shoulders themselves down. Palms up, just chest height, and then turn and push up, and then reaching round. Feel those shoulder blades slide down, keeping the chest open. And again, pulling up, turn, push up, sweep round, and this time add a little squat onto that, taking the hips back and down. And then push up tall. So you're doing a pull up, turn, push, sweep it round, open the chest, and squat, taking the hips back, shoulders down, and then lengthen up again. Starting to warm up the shoulders, and adding in the hips and the knees. Thighs and buttocks working. Hold on to that orange between the knees, the peach underneath the chin, between the chin and the chest. Sweeping round and then squatting. Knees going straight forward over the toes, keeping that chest lifted. And again, pulling up, turn, push up, sweep round, and that squat all the weight into the heels. And then pushing up and then adding on a side bend, just reaching down the seam of the trouser leg and to the other side, reaching down. So you're just sliding your hand down and getting some more flexibility into the spine. Trying to keep everything below the waist still. Keep the headlamps on the hip bones pointing forward, headlamps on the chest pointing forward. And then going back to the beginning. Pulling up, turn, push, sweeping round, keep that chest lifted and open, and squat, shoulders down. And then pushing up through the soles of the feet, and a big bend to the side. Lengthen up and a bend to the other side. And then one more time, pulling up, turn, pushing up, opening the chest, deep, deep, deep squat, and then lengthen up, and then that bend to the side. Rib to hip, with everything below the waist staying still. Holding that there. And then right foot forward, left arm forward, right arm back, and then just swing the leg. Forward and back, but without twisting the torso at all. Keep the headlamps on the hip bones pointing forward, headlamps on the chest pointing forward. Lengthening up through the spine. Lengthen up through that piece of string in the centre of your head. And then see if you can flex the foot, balance, and just swing forward and back. Again, trying to keep that torso as stable as you can. Hip flexor, then buttock working, but mainly, of course, the core to keep you balanced. And see if you can change that. So you put the foot forward, reach forward, swim the arms and tap the foot behind. And then bring it back to the side. So you do forward, sweeping round, side. So forward, open, side. And see if you can do that without putting the foot onto the floor. Again, challenging your balance a little bit. Opening the chest. Whoops, bit of balance challenge going on there. And then one more time. And then bring it back to start position and change legs. Of course, you're going to feel that on the standing leg as well. And then left foot forward, right arm forward, left arm back. And just swing the leg forward and back. And of course, you know we're going to lift the foot, but if you find that's too much, of course you can always just leave the foot on the floor. Load bearing still for that standing leg. And if you can, you flex and you swing. But try to keep the torso as absolutely stable as you can while you do this. Try not to lean forward, make sure the leg stays straight as you squeeze the leg back. Nice and smooth, getting flexibility into the hip. And then just bring it back to the start position. And then doing the tap forward with the swim arms. And of course you can leave the toes on the floor if you prefer. If not, you could lift the leg and swing it round without putting the foot down. But of course that is a lot more challenging. Still keeping that torso absolutely stable. And then from there, I'll be feeling that on that standing leg now. Just bring the feet back into alignment, maybe give the legs a little bit of a shake out. And then bring the feet back into alignment. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against that wall again. Keep that tailbone pointing down. And then from here, just floating the arms up towards the ceiling and bring them down. And then lifting up and bringing the arms down. Then just do a lift up, keep the arms by the ears by the arms, and a bend to the side. Bring it back and bring the arms down. So you're doing a lift, arms by the ears by the arms, and reach across to where the ceiling meets the wall. Try not to twist the body at all. And then adding on to that, you're doing a lift up and a bend to the side. Now rotate and look at the floor. Relax those knees and sweep round and drop. Hold that there, just dropping towards the floor, keep the head down. Engage the tummy and slowly come up. Link by link, bone by bone. And again, you float the arms up and you go to the other side. Try and keep those headlamps pointing forward on the hips and the chest to start with. Then you rotate your right shoulder forward, relax those knees so they're not locking, and then sweeping round and drop and hold. Engage the tummy and slowly come up. All the way up, shoulders back and down. Just getting some flexibility into the spine. So the arms went out to the side there. And then just bend, rotate, sweep round and drop and hold. Nodding the head. Shake, 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 shake the head. And then slowly come up again. All the way up. And then we'll go to the side with the arms reaching up. And over to the side. Rotate and look at the floor. Relax those knees, sweeping round and drop and hold. Nodding the head. Shake, 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 shake the head. And then just gently coming up, all the way up. Shoulders back and down. And then from there, bringing the feet into first position. Heels turned in and the toes turned out. So this time we're going to add in the buttocks and a little bit of inner thigh as well. So this time you're going to push up onto the balls of the feet, balance, and bring the heels back down. So just a lift up and heels coming back down. So lifting up the arms a little bit higher and bringing the heels back down. Try and keep the heels turned in and the toes turned out, and balance, pushing all the way up and down. lengthening through the spine. Keep the back of the head, the shoulder blades, the buttocks and the heels up against that imaginary wall, tailbone pointing down. And see if you can do that just a little bit quicker. Just tap and lift, tap and lift. Maybe the arms aren't going to lift quite so high this time. Feel those buttocks clench. Keep the heels turned in, toes turned out. And just literally just tap down and push up, tap down and push up, tap down and push up. And then hold it at the top. Hold, catch it, balance. And then do a little pulse. Then you really feel those buttocks engage. And of course your core muscles are waking to balance. A little bit of inner thigh. And of course the calf muscles. And keep breathing, let your breathing flow. And then just relax the heels back to the floor. Then taking a big step back with that right foot. Check the back toes point forward, check the front toes point forward. And maybe have the feet apart so you can balance a little bit easier. And then bending that front knee, but make sure it doesn't go any further forward than the toes. And then lift that right arm up. Turn the head, follow the hand with the eye, then you're getting flexibility into the neck. And the other arm, just to reach it forward, take it all the way around and back and down. And then changing legs. Make sure that both of the feet point directly forward, bending that front knee, feel a really good stretch through the calf, keeping the chest lifted and stable, reaching that left arm forward. And there is an element of balance here, so you're going to have to switch on those core muscles. Circling the arm and the other arm. Just turn the head. And then bring it back to the start position. Now here, what we're going to do if you did ballet is not first position, but third position. So you have your right foot turned out to the side, then you bring your left heel just into the arch of that right foot. Keep the hips pointing forward, the chest pointing forward, and then just slide that right foot behind it. Go slightly out to the side because you've got your heel turned in, your toes turned out, then you bring it back to that start position. So you're sliding and the toes go out, point the toes, bring it back in, but try to keep your torso as stable as you can. Sliding out and sliding in. And then see if you can add a lift onto that. Try not to lean forward. Remember, you're not moving your upper body at all. And you should feel that as you lift into the outside upper part of the buttock in the muffin top bit. So you're just sliding out and lifting. If that's too much, of course, you just leave the toes on the floor. Nice and smooth, but of course challenging the core to keep you stable. You try not to move that torso at all. And then just relax and change to the other side. So you would slide your right heel just into the side of that left foot. So you're keeping the heels turned in, the toes turned out. Then you go exactly the same to the other side. Just sliding out, it goes slightly back and slide back in. And of course it's balancing. So pointing the toes and slide back in. Always maybe one side easier than the other side. Keeping that chest lifted. And then if you want to, once you've got it going, you can add the lift. It's still lengthening through the spine. Feeling that in that upper part of the buttock out to the side. And just lift and squeeze. And of course your low bearing again for that standing leg. Maybe exhale to lift and inhale to lower. And getting flexibility into the hip as well. And I've got no idea how many I did on the other side, but we'll maybe do a couple more. And then last one. And just relax. So you're feeling that just in that muffin top bit there. And then bring the feet back into alignment. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against that imaginary wall. And then if you just want to get your mat and stand on the back of the mat. So lengthening up. And then shoulders, hips, knees and ankles aligned. And just do a lovely roll down. Just drop the chin and peel yourself off the wall like a piece of wet wallpaper and head down towards the toes. Drop as far as you can. And then nodding the head, just to release that tension. Shake the head.
letting the arms dangle, use the weight of the head to stretch through the spine. And then relax the knees a bit, putting the hands onto the floor, and then just see if you can walk out into a full plank, holding that there. If that's not comfortable, just go straight down onto the hands and knees. If you can, you're staying in your full plank. Just hold that there. And then bend the knees slightly, or putting the knees onto the floor, and then walking the hands into the knees if your knees are on the floor, or into your toes, and then slowly come up. Link by link, bone by bone, up against that imaginary wall again. And going again. Just let your breathing flow as you roll down. Keep the arms close into the legs, hold. Nodding, 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 shake, 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 shake the head. And bend the knees, put the hands onto the floor, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 steps out with the arms, and then hold it in that full plank. Make sure you don't stick your bottom up or drop your hips down. Got your chin forward in that lovely plank. But again, you can always just go onto your hands and knees if you want to. And then again, just bend the knees slightly, walk the hands in, upper body strength going on here, and then slowly come up again, link by link, bone by bone. Right back up against that imaginary wall. If you don't want to do the full plank or onto the hands and knees, then you would just do the roll down, nod and shake, and come back up again. You can always repeat that instead. This time, just one more time. Drop the chin, head down, slowly, 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 and then nodding, nodding the head. Shake, 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 shake the head, and then bend the knees, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 steps out into the plank and hold if you can, if not just hands and knees, or roll down onto your front. And then coming onto the hands and knees, if you are all right on your hands and knees. Hands directly underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, so there's a full back length between the hands and the knees. They're not too close together, make sure your bottom doesn't stick up. Tucking the pelvis under, peach underneath the chin, plank of wood on the back of your head. And cup of tea between the shoulder blades, as well as on the back of the pelvis. So there's no dip in your back, otherwise the tea will slide into the dip. And then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, slide the right toes directly out, and breathing in, slide back. Exhale out, and breathe in, slide back. Try not to lean over to your left side. Now if you need to, you lie on your front, and you just lift and lower that right leg, that straight right leg. Just lift and lower the leg. And then when you're ready, swap to the other side, trying to keep those cups of tea still. Just keep the toes in contact with the floor. Make sure you're not bending your right elbow as you slide that left leg out. Keep the tummy engaged, the pelvis tucked under slightly so the back is like a table. Sliding out, sliding in. Lying on your front, you're just lifting and lowering that left leg while keeping your torso as stable as you can. And then when you're ready, swapping again. This time sliding leg out, flex the foot, imprint sole of the foot onto the wall behind, toes come down, slide back in, and swap to the other leg. So just slide out, flex and lift, imprint, and then gently bring it back down again. So maybe exhale out, inhale, hold, exhale, toes down, inhale, back. And if you're lying on your front, you just continue with, this time, alternate leg lifts. Trying to keep your torso as stable as you can while you do this. Try not to bend any elbows, keeping that back like a table. So the corners of the table, or your shoulders and your hips, so you're not going to drop a shoulder or a hip. Keeping the neck in line with the spine. And then, so upper body strength going on here. Then from there, just to add to that upper body strength, if you can, take the hands out wider than the mat, just wider than the mat, elbows pointing directly out to the side, inside of the elbows looking at each other, fingers pointing forward. Keep the weight forward so your chest is between your hands. Now you know what's coming now, don't you? So you slide your right leg out, that's the start and finish position. And you just breathe in and bend the elbows till the forehead goes towards the floor, and breathing out to push up. Make sure that the head stays in front of the hands. Now, if you don't want to do that, come into a sitting position and just
Bring the elbows up behind you, make a fist and push back and under. So you're working to the backs of the arms. So you could do that instead if you don't want to be on the wrists or the knees. Hopefully you're still going with those press-ups, and then when you're ready, you change to the other leg. Sliding out, keep the weight forward, flexing the foot, and breathing in, breathing out. Elbows pointing out to the side. But remember, you can always do sitting if it gets to be too much for the wrists. But of course, you're promoting bone growth in the wrists, as well as working into your core muscles to keep you stable, and working those bingo wings and the pectoral muscles in the chest, as well as your buttock as you lift the leg. So it's just breathing in to go down, breathing out to push up. And then when you think you've probably done about equal numbers on both sides, maybe you could do 5, 7 or 10, I don't know. And then just relax, sit back onto the heels, let the forehead rest down. And maybe just take those arms behind you and rotate the wrists. And if that's not comfortable, you can sit on your bottom, swing your legs around in front of you, reach over the beach ball for your toes and rotate those wrists. And of course you can also open those knees a little bit, get those hips back further. And then from there, you've had a good stretch through the buttocks because you work those as well. Just scoot all the way out, please, onto your front. And so if you just want to lengthen through the legs, take a moment to set this up. Tummy button pulled right up off your little flat hot stone, slide your shoulder blades down your back. And the cup of tea on the back of the pelvis, keeping the torso as stable as you can. Turn the heels in and the toes out, so kind of duck feet going on here. And that of course will immediately engage your buttocks and your inner thighs. Keeping a cup of tea still on the back of your pelvis, just take a breath in, and as you breathe out, hover the right leg off the floor and breathe in and put it down. So just lifting and lowering that right leg, repeating on the right side. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower, while keeping your torso as stable as you can. So it's not about lifting high. If you lift too high, the pelvis will rock and that cup of tea will slide. So just lift and lower, keeping the heel turned in, toes turned out. You're going to work the inside of the buttock, but those core muscles to keep you stable. And then relax, keep the heels turned in, toes turned out, and lift your left leg. Just again, lengthening through the leg. Again, it's not about lifting high. And keep the head down, the neck relaxed. And just focus on your body and your breathing. Activating your upper body still. Keeping that tummy button pulled up and in. So your body is active, but keeping absolutely stable while you lift and lower the leg. And then see if you can now stretch the arms out in front of you. Make sure the shoulders don't creep up around the ears. Let the forehead rest on the floor. Still got your heels turned in, your toes turned out, so your buttocks are still engaged. Forehead down, or you can turn your head to the side and let your cheek rest. And then you would do opposite arm and leg. So lifting maybe left arm and right leg as you exhale, inhale down. And swap, lift and lower. Keep those heels turned in, toes turned out. Trying to keep your torso, of course, as stable as you can while you do that. Lengthening from your fingertips all the way down to your toes. But keeping those heels turned in, toes turned out all the time. And then if you can, you lift the upper body as well. Arm by the ear, ear by the arm. So your neck stays in line with your spine, the peach underneath the chin. Remember, you can turn your head to the side and let your cheek rest. Look at the floor, then turn the head and let the cheek rest again. Or you have the forehead on the floor and lift and lower. Still trying to keep those heels turned in and the toes turned out. Try not to engage
the neck. It's your back, you're working across your back and into your buttocks. And then once you've got that going, maybe you could lift upper and lower together. Keep the heels turned in, toes turned out. You really feel those buttocks engage. Now, of course, if that is too much, just stay with opposite arm and leg, or you could just do the lower body, and then you can leave the arms on the floor and lift the upper body, or you can leave the legs down and just lift the arms. You can do any combination that you want to do. The hardest one obviously would be both arms, both legs, head and shoulders off the floor. Try not to engage the neck. And then see if you could lift it all up, hold, tap the heels together, 5 little taps on an in-breath, 5 little taps on an out-breath, and gently go down. Again, if that's too much, you can do the lower body, tap, 5 little taps on the in-breath, 5 little taps on the out-breath, go down, and then lift the upper body with or without the arms. So you decide which level you're going to go for. It's just exhale to lift, inhale to tap, 5 little taps in breath, 5 little taps out breath, and then in breath you take it down. And you decide how many repetitions you would like to do, and really feel your back work, inner side of your buttock, inside of your buttock, and of course those inner thighs. And then when you've completed as many times as you would like to do, you come up onto the hands and knees, and then arch the back, drop the head, get a really good stretch in your spine from the back of your neck to your tail. Try and get those ears to point down, arch the back up, tucking that pelvis under, push the hips towards the head, and then because you work the lower back of the buttocks, sinking back onto the heels, let the forehead rest down. Or of course you can do the alternative, sit on your bottom, swing your legs round in front of you, reach over the beach ball for your toes. Or you could sit and hug the knees into the chest, drop the head over the knees. If you're sinking back onto the heels, you can have the arms behind, palms up, or the arms stretched out, whichever's comfortable. And of course you can open your knees as well to get those hips back that little bit further. Try and get the hips right back onto the heels. Reaching back. Having a good stretch through the lower back and the buttocks. And if you just want to scoot all the way back out onto your front, please, and roll over onto your right side. Take a moment to set this up, bending the knees forward towards the front of your mat, then swing the heels round so that they're kind of just underneath your sit bone there. Keep the head down, the neck relaxed, activate around the middle. Try and get your waist lifted off that little flat hot stone. Maybe hand in front, or you can put the hand behind to open the chest, pull the shoulder back and down. And then keep the heel on top of the heel, and then just open and close. Exhale to open, inhale to close, keeping that cup of tea still on the back of your pelvis, or rather the side of your pelvis there. Just lift and lower, heel on top of heel. Keeping the chest open and the head down, neck relaxed. Getting flexibility into your hip. And working gluteus medius. And then from there, just relax that back down and extend the leg out and just do a little kick forward, not too far, and bring it back into alignment. So you're not taking it back behind you, just straight forward and back. Keeping that chest open, keeping that cup of tea still. Exhale to do that little kick forward and inhale to bring it back. And then holding that there, and then do a lift and lower. Again, not too high, because if you lift it too high, your hip will roll back and that cup of tea is coming off. Just exhale to lift, inhale to lower, so you bring it back to probably about hip height. And then maybe one more of those, and then see if you can do one of each. So you bring the foot back on top of the foot, the knee on top of the knee, keeping that torso as stable as you can. Don't forget to keep that little gap between the waist and the floor. And then do your open and close.
extend the leg. Little kick forward, challenging your balance. Bring it back into alignment with the hip and lift and lower. Then again, you do exhale, open, inhale, close. Exhale, extend. Maybe push the heel away from you, get some stretch through the leg. And then exhale, kick forward. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. And bring the knee on top of the knee, the foot on top of the foot. So you just do open, close, extend, kick, bring it back, and lift and lower. Feeling that outside hip and thigh start to work. There's your gluteus medius as you open and close. Extend the leg. You've got a little bit of gluteus maximus as well as your quadricep. And then you extend the leg straight out in front of you. There's your hip flexor working. A little bit of buttock to bring it back. Outside hip and thigh. Gravity. And again, just do an open and close. Extend and kick. And then the lift and lower. So flexibility into your hip, but also really switching on those core muscles to keep that pelvis as stable as you can while you do this. And I'm going to do maybe one more time, but you stop the video and do as many times as you want to do until you get fatigue in that particularly outside hip and thigh there. And then when you've done enough, you pop that top knee on the floor in front of you, give the outside of the hip thigh a little bit of a rub and a smack if you've got a burn going on. Straighten out that bottom leg in line with the mat, and then hover the leg off the floor and do a lift and lower. Almost to the floor, but not quite. So those inner thighs are working all the time. And just put that top hand wherever you need it to be. You can still have it behind, or you can put it in front, or you can just rest it on the hip. And then hold that leg up, and then circle the leg. Nice and smooth. Maybe one circle on an in-breath, one circle on an out-breath. And I'm going for about 5 in that direction, but you know me, my counting's terrible. And then when you think you've done 5, make the circle go the other way. Try not to put the leg down in between, still keeping that waist lifted so your upper body is active. Pushing the heel away to get some stretch through the back of the leg. And then when you think you've done about 5 there, you've still got that leg off the floor, and then squeeze it back as if you're trying to touch the wall behind you with your heel. But keep the leg straight. Try not to bend the knee. If you're bending the knee, the likelihood is you're catching your thigh on the floor. So you need to lift the leg high, make that inner thigh work harder. And then you go back to the beginning and do one of each. So you do exhale, lift, inhale, lower, exhale, circle one way, in maybe exhale, circle the other way, and then exhale to squeeze back, inhale back into alignment. So it's a lift, lower, circle one way, circle the other way, squeeze it back. Keep pushing that heel away from you, getting the length in the leg. So you've got your inner thigh working, a little bit of hip flex, a little bit of buttock to get that circle. And then again, the buttock as you push back. Try and keep that leg as straight as you can. Because it will want to try and bend, particularly on that push back. Little circles. And then that squeeze back. And then I'm going to do one more, but of course you can do some more if you want to. Circling and circling, keeping that torso still as you can, waist lifted, squeeze back and release. And then bringing both the knees forward together, keep the head down, the neck relaxed, and then just focus on your pelvic floor. Remember that pelvic floor, that hammock of muscle from the front to the back between the legs, the muscles that you use to stop yourself going to the loo at an inappropriate moment. So just isolate that pelvic floor. And then think about having a lift inside you. And you've got 10 floors in your building. So you're going to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, just squeeze up that pelvic floor right up to the top of the building, floor number 10. Hold to breathe in at the top, And then breathing out, just let that lift go down to floor number 3. So you're not going to let it go all the way down. You're just squeezing it all up to floor number 10, hold at the top to breathe in, and then breathing out, floor by floor, see if you can, take it down to just floor number 3. So not take it all the way down into the first floor, the ground floor, or even the basement. Hold it at number 3. And again, you're doing a big squeeze up. Hold it at the top, and then relax it down. Isolate that pelvic floor. Squeezing it up on the out breath, holding on the in, and then releasing gently and bringing it back down to floor number 3. And then see if you can hold it at floor number 3, and then squeeze up for 1 second, release for 1 second. Squeeze up for 1 second, release for 1 second. So you're just pulling up to maybe 7 or 8, then release to 4. Squeeze up 7 or 8, release to 4. Floor number 4. So you just squeeze up, release, squeeze up, release, squeeze up, release. Quick, short, sharp bursts. Squeezing up for 1 second, release for 1 second. And then just release, let it go, but always holding it to that floor number 3, or 30%, pull up. And keep that there. And then if you just gently, please, roll over onto your back. Taking a moment, of course, to set this up. Bring the chin down over the peach, stretch your fingertips towards your toes. Shoulders, hips, knees and ankles aligned, and having the heels directly underneath the knees, in line with the sit bones. Orange between the knees, little grape in the small of your back, and then just exhale to tilt the pelvis, crush the grape, and breathing in to release. So you're just scooping out the tummy, pressing the tummy button right down into the backbone, bringing the hip bones into the bottom of the rib cage, but keeping the rib cage knitted right down. So it's only the pelvis that is moving. Exhale to tilt, inhale to release, keeping the feet rooted into the floor. Shoulder blades melting into the floor. And then maybe you could make that a little bit more challenging. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, lift one knee up to tabletop, press your back into the mat, lift the other leg up into tabletop, still holding onto that orange between the knees. Now see if you can do your pelvic tilt from there. A little bit more challenging because you haven't got your feet to push with. Make sure you keep your knees over your sit bones so you're not swinging into the chest. It's just a small movement, not moving the knees exactly, you're moving the pelvis, and the legs will just come with it. And then if you wanted to make that even more challenging, you bring your forearms off the floor, so there's no push and less stability. Keep that chin down over the peach, make sure the chin doesn't tilt back. Feel those tummy muscles work, those deep tummy muscles. Then if you wanted to work even harder there, you could take the arms up towards the ceiling, reaching up, so there's no arms helping at all now. And if that's too much, of course, you leave the arms down, and you could even leave one foot down and tilt the pelvis if it's too much, or you put both feet back onto the floor. You decide which level you're going for here. So just isolate those tummy muscles. Press that tummy button right down into the backbone. It's just a small, small movement. It's not a big swing. And then if you want to, you could add on to that. You could tilt the pelvis and do 3 little pulses. 1, 2, 3, and release. Just let your breathing flow. Tilt 1, 2, 3, and release. You can really start to feel those tummy muscles work. Tilting 1, 2, 3. Again, just a small, small movement. And then if you wanted to work that a little bit harder, you breathe in, nod your head, breathing out, curl forward, hold it there, and then pulse. Lift in, 1, 2, 3, release. 1, 2, 3, release. Make sure there's no strain on the neck. If it's too much, support the head with one hand, or even both hands. You can decide. 1, 2, 3, ribs to hips, hips to ribs. You would press your head into your hand,
hands and your hands into your head to support that. But try and go as far forward as you can. So you're just pulsing, and of course if that's too much, you go back to any of the earlier options. And then when you feel those tummy muscles have had enough, just relax, put one foot down, the other foot down, roll the head and the shoulders down, and then just let the head roll from side to side and ease out the tension in the neck. And then line your head up with the spine, take the arms over the top of your head, stretch the legs along the floor, and give yourself a lovely stretch through your tummy and your hips. Just lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Reaching forward with your toes and up behind you with your fingertips. Hold and stretch. And then the best way you know how, taking yourself onto your left side. So maybe breathing in, nod your head, float the arms up towards the ceiling, breathing out and peel yourself off. Or if you can, depending on where your screen is, you could just roll over. But you need to be on your left side. So just the best way you know how, take yourself onto your left side. Taking a moment to set that up, take the arm back, bring the knees to the front of your mat and take the feet back underneath the sit bones, and either hand in front or hand behind, waist lifted. And then from here, just lift your waist up a little bit off that hot stone, and then go with the clam or oyster, whichever works better in your head. Open and close. Exhale to open and inhale to close. Rotating through the hip, keeping everything else as stable as you can. And then when you've done approximately 5 of those, extend the leg out about hip height. Challenge your balance with a little kick forward as you exhale. Inhale, bring it back. So just straight forward from the hip. Getting that hip flexor to work a little bit. But keeping that torso as stable as you can while you do this, switching on those core muscles. And then you're going to do a lift and lower. Not too high because you don't want the hip to roll back. Keeping the knee and the toes facing forward. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. And again, when you've done approximately 5 of those, just bring the leg back, knee on top of knee, heel on top of heel, and then do 1 open, close, 1 extend, and then 1 kick forward and back into alignment, and then 1 lift and lower. And then bring it back, knee on top of knee, foot on top of foot. So you do exhale, open, inhale, close. Exhale, extend, inhale, hold. Exhale, kick, inhale, back. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower, and bring the knee on top of the knee. And then you go again. So getting that flexibility into the hip. And lengthening through the leg, doing that kick forward. And then make that outside hip and thigh work harder, lift and lower. And then you go back to the bend leg. So you just do open and close, trying to keep that torso as stable as you can, particularly on that kick forward, that's challenging your balance. And then the lift and lower to work into that outside hip and thigh again. And of course you do as many repetitions of this as you want to. So what you want to do is get some fatigue in that outside hip and thigh. Shall we do maybe 1 more of those? But of course you can do more if you want to. Keep it as smooth and as flowing as you possibly can. And then if you've had enough of that, put the top knee on the floor in front of you. Maybe give that outside of the hip a little rub and a smack. Get rid of the burn. Extend the leg, flex the foot. Make sure it's in alignment. Maybe put the hand behind, open the chest, pull the shoulder back and down. And then do lift and lower without putting the leg all the way down onto the floor. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower, pushing the heel away from you. Get that inner thigh to work. Then you change it
to the circle. Nice and smooth, maybe one circle on an in-breath, one circle on an out-breath. Keep pushing that heel away, try not to bend the knee. Then when you've done approximately 5 circles in one direction, you change and make it go the other way. Again, keeping that torso as stable as you can. Just isolate that bottom leg. Circling, circling. And then again about 5. And then you would do a squeeze back as if you're trying to touch the wall behind with that heel. So it's just a small movement. Keep the leg off the floor so you're not allowing the knee to bend. And also pushing the heel away will help to keep that leg straight. Isolate that bottom leg. And then you would go with one of each. Keeping the leg off the floor. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, circle. Inhale, circle the other way. And then exhale, squeeze back. Inhale into alignment. So you just lift and lower. One circle one way, one circle the other way, and then the squeeze back. Trying to keep everything else as stable as you can while you do that. Again, flexibility for your hip, and of course those core muscles working to keep you absolutely stable while you do this. And again, you do as many repetitions of this little sequence as you want to. Maybe I'll do one more, which you can repeat as many times as you want to. And then that squeeze back and release. And then just gently, please, roll over onto your back. And let's do some stretching. So we've just been working those inner thighs. Let's go with those first. Let the knees drop apart. Stretch those inner thighs. Relax the neck, relax the shoulders. Shoulder blades melting into the floor. Holding that there. Just let the weight of your legs take your knees towards the floor. Stretching those inner thighs. And then bring the knees up, feet flat on the floor. Maybe cross your right ankle over your left knee. Remember, you can lift your heel, you can lift your foot, you can hold on behind that left thigh, hug the legs in, and if you're doing that, you can also ease that right leg out with your right elbow. Just have a little experiment and see which position gives you the best stretch. Relax the neck, relax the shoulders. Outside hips and thighs stretching. Just bring those legs into your chest. And then changing legs. Remember, you can lift the heel, you can lift the foot, you can hold on and just hug in, and maybe use that elbow to ease the leg out. But keep the head down, the neck relaxed. Holding that there. And then just release. And then from here, just stretch the legs out. Take the arms over the top of your head. Give yourself a full body stretch. Lengthen through. And then breathing in, nod your head. Float the arms up towards the ceiling. Breathing out. Peel yourself off. Up to sitting. Or of course, you can use your hands behind your thighs to pull up. You can push up with the hands behind the lower back. You can always roll over onto one side and then push up to sitting. Then just stretch the legs out, sit up nice and tall. Pop the hands down by your thighs and slide the hands out towards the feet. Remember, it doesn't matter how far forward you go. You just go as far forward as you can, but not bending those knees. Try and keep those knees straight. Maybe push the heels away from you, get some stretch through those calves. Perhaps take a breath in, and as you breathe out, see if the arms will go a little bit further out. Get a good stretch through those hamstrings and calves, and still lower back and buttocks also. And then sitting up nice and tall. Maybe just bring the feet in, cross legs, or you could have the legs straight or bent. And if this is not comfortable, if you find you curving your spine, pop a cushion or two underneath your bottom and sit upon it. And that will help to lengthen through the spine. Then right hand, palm down, underneath the buttocks, sit upon it. And drop your left ear down into your shoulder.
Stretch neck, stretch shoulder. Hold that there. And then keep lengthening through the spine. Release the hand. Slide your shoulder blades down and drop the chin all the way down into the chest. Slide those shoulder blades down your back, shoulders away from the ears. Lengthen the neck. Sitting up nice and tall, keep that tummy pulled up and in. And then just lifting the head up. Left hand palm down underneath buttock, sit on that one. And drop your right ear down into your shoulder. Stretch the neck, stretch the shoulder. Hold and stretch, but keep lengthening through the spine. Nice straight back. And then lengthening up again, shoulders back and down. Keep the peach underneath the chin and just turn the head and look as far as you can over that right shoulder. Getting as much flexibility as possible into the neck. Slowly turn the head and look all the way over that left shoulder. Keeping your torso stable, chin down over the peach. Then just drop the chin into the chest, lifting the head. Lifting the right arm up, drop the hand behind your head and ease the arm back. Elbow pointing up and stretch into the back of the arm. Keeping the head up nice and tall. And the other arm, take it straight up, drop it down, give it a little push back. Try and keep the arm by the ear by the arm. And just ease it back. And then just release. And then coming onto the, or bring your knees over, and then come onto the hands and knees.
Arch the back, drop the head, pull the tummy button up and in, and give yourself a really good stretch. Drop the head, and arch the back up. Tummy button pulled right up and in. And then just relax the back.
And then just walking the hands into the knees, tuck your toes under, hover the knees, push the hips up into the air. Keep the head down, the knees bent, walking the hands into the toes, with the head down, the knees slightly bent. Keep that tummy pulled up and in, and then just slowly come up. Nice and slowly let your breathing flow all the way up against your imaginary wall. Shoulders back and down, and then just release those shoulders. Forward, up and round, back and down, and just easing them out. And then going back to your perfect Pilates posture, back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against the wall, tailbone pointing down with you zip up and hollow, and maintain your perfect Pilates posture again until next time, when I hope you'll still be there with me. Thank you again for staying there and all of your wonderful contributions. Can't say how grateful I am that you're still there after all of these weeks. And unfortunately, well, fortunately and unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be here for a little bit longer. But we'll just keep going, and you keep going too, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.